Guys, I love this truck, okay? This truck has made me the Mopar guy that I thought I'll never be. And that's coming from a Pontiac, dude. Anywho, I love this truck, okay? And I post little snippets of this truck on the channel. This is actually the truck that kind of started my channel in the first place. And then we kind of dove off in all the LS stuff and everything, but I digress. This truck is basically almost done. I don't really post as much content about this truck as I should. Wow, I got like a crazy camber right there. Because you guys aren't really a big fan of this truck, and that's okay. I just want you to know in the future, we will be doing all sorts of weird, goofy stuff to this truck. What we don't have is our cluster situation figured out until today. Okay, so I end up getting a panel from DW Panels because they don't make repops for these trucks. I have the NOS piece, but I didn't want to cut the NOS piece up. So I just got one of these because the truck's already, you know, been in 17 different configurations. So we have a mock-up of the actual cluster, instrument cluster panel, okay? What are we gonna do about gauges? Now, I looked into NVU, and I'm gonna say this now. I was not happy about the price that I paid for these gauges, but I can't deny what we got. Okay, look at this. You telling me you wouldn't pay money for this? These things are freaking mint. They're the exact size as the factory bezel. So they're a bolt-in replacement. Look, I'm gonna get you in on that. Look at that. Now, I could have opted for an additional slot for a tack, but I wanted to keep the classic look. So we got the RPM gauge, even though they didn't come with RPM gauges, we got it down there. This is their 67 series gauges. Get you in on that. These things are gorgeous. So we got the temperature, we got the fuel, oil pressure, and battery. And they also, you get all your sending units and stuff, all your terminals, all your wires. And you also get this. This is a box, okay? I don't know where my old one's at. But essentially, you can take your factory Dodge Hornets, whether you got the pin one like this, or you got the one like this. And it bolts into that, and that does literally almost all the hard work for you, or from what I was told. Anyway, today we're gonna be installing this so I can finally have working gauges in my Dodge, and then we can really start testing that truck and getting it stretched out, because I've driven it up and down the road flawlessly. Does it ride like rough crap? Yeah, it does, but that's what I wanted. I didn't want, you know, I lowered it and I did everything as cheaply and budget efficient as possible. So of course it's gonna kind of ride like, you know, a little hammered, but the roads here in Louisiana are already hammered, so I'm yammering. Let's get into this. I guess the first thing we need to look at is the sensors and stuff that it sent us. So let's see here. Your oil pressure, yes you are. And they're all electric, which is awesome. I can appreciate that. They got bulbs and stuff in there. And we got these terminals. Okay. That's basically the layout we're going for. 72 to 80 Dodge. That's the layout we're going. You can't see that. Yeah. You will not be reusing the original gauges or housing. Only the original bezel will be retained. There are a few different style bezels for the 72 to 80. Both will work, but the 75 to 80 model require less trimming on the smaller hoses. Again, I could have, instead of doing that, I could have used this, but I didn't want to tear this up. I didn't want to modify this. And I don't know if that's because I'm slowly becoming a purist over the years or what, but I didn't want to tear that up. See, it even shows you the instructions of how to hole saw it out and everything in it. That's pretty neat. Again, I didn't want to do any of that. I would rather use that. Now, another reason why I went with these gauges is because the fuel pressure, not fuel pressure, Jesus, I'm thinking of modern stuff. The fuel level in that tank, I have a 68, 69 Mustang tank in the rear. So, if you didn't know, Ford, AMC, and Mopar from 65 to 86 all use the 73 to 10 range. So, what I can do is I can cut my harness where my original hookup went to the gas tank behind the seat, and I can extend that lead all the way to my tank and then reattach it, plug it in, done. Perfectly fine. And that alone should incorporate with this, since this is basically an expansion of the stock gauges. I'm terrible at explaining stuff. We're just gonna get there, okay? Okay. We got it. We got them all squared in here, okay? So this is what we got. We got these wires coming up off of this. Now in the instructions, they give you some pretty good instructions telling you like what cluster you got, what kind of stuff you can use. It gives you a list of everything that's going to be used off of this. So you just basically follow suit, like red and tack. The red wire is the speedo and the tack. This one right here. It goes to pin A. Pin A, they're labeled in here. That one's pin A. I don't know if you can really see that. But you see how you see 1, 2, 3? There's also the alphabets up in there. And they even supply you with the crimp connectors for all that stuff. So I'm about to run through these real quick and then we're gonna come back. Guys, I so thought this was just gonna be a simple, easy video. No. I don't even know how many hours done passed of me doing research and looking at stuff and seeing that what I have is not what other people have. So, I have it mocked up, okay? Let's talk about this real quick. I have all my sending unit. I know it looks kind of funky, but I promise you, it's great. So, all my red wires that I have right here, that's for my ignition. So when I turn my ignition on, all of these gauges turn on, okay? Okay, I have that looped from the main speedometer into the back of this brick that they had sunk for, you know, the plug and play. It is not plug and play, okay? The one that I got is not plug and play. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that all these gauges, they supposed to have like these little plugs that look like this one, that plug in the back of these, and then they plug into this, and then you have one long harness. That's what I was supposed to get. Now, like let's look. Let's look at this. I will show you. Because my gauges don't look nothing like any of these. Hold up. Here we go. That's what my gauges are supposed to look like. That does not look like that. If you look right here, see how they have like the little extra harness coming up out the back, and they kind of all feed to this one big harness, and then they all come out? That's what we were supposed to have. But no, we didn't have that. So what I did was, this brick is essentially useless other than power distribution. So the way that I'm using this is you have the A and the D feed, okay? Now, according to this, the A is the Speedo Tech Red. That's your 12 volt ignition feed. And the D is the ground. So that basically turns this big boy on and off, okay? That's how I have that set up. I have all my ignitions running through this one, plugged into there. And then I just have this single ground plugged into there. All my grounds on my gauges, because I didn't get the fancy gauges, I had to hook them up like old school electrical gauges. So I took all my grounds and I ran them all to one ground, okay? There's 18 gauges, and then they run into a 14 gauge, and that's what we use to ground it, okay? And then my senders. So I color coded all mine. My temp sensor is blue. My gas sensor is white. My oil pressure is brown, okay? Okay. Let's get some light on the situation. Because couple of these hours have passed now, guys. I done got aggravated. I had to get, like, literally get off of here and concentrate to be able to come back and explain this to you guys. So I have my temp sensor up here. Again, that's my blue one. My oil pressure sensor is back behind that coil. We're not fighting to see that. It's just back there. It's a pain, okay? And as far as my gas gauge goes, what I did on my gas gauge is I temporarily have it just tied together. But that's my original gauge. That white wire you see right there, that white wire runs all the way down. See if I can get you down here. You might can see it, but my white wire runs to my sending unit. I don't know if you can see that. I'll have to just look over that in editing, okay? Okay. So that goes back to these wires right here. So these are all individuals. So these are my sending unit wires, okay? Now let's talk about this plug, okay? Because this plug looks hammered, right? Because it is. This is the factory plug. I removed the fuel sending unit, and I removed both the blinkers because I want all this separate. Since we got a piggyback crap, those wires that I told you that I ran, my sending units, they're right here. Well, you can't see it. Yeah, they're right here. Those are my sending unit wires. I got them routed up, what have you. Let's talk about this plug. You have to know the orientation of how this plug works. Now, what I didn't realize is halfway through this, A, B, C, D, so on and so on, okay? You take this plug, if you look on the back side of it, it literally has the alphabet, A, B, C, all the way around. The alphabet on this plug matches the alphabet on this diagram. that pretty much told me what I needed to get out of this. Now, I still wasn't sold on that, so I did some more research. So let's get, shout out to Night Wrencher for this diagram. But this diagram right here of this plug that I just casually threw somewhere. Oh, there it is. Of this plug, okay? So let's take this plug and turn it up just like that. Now you can follow that plug in this diagram to let you know which does which. Like the gauge lights, fuel sending unit, 12-volt feed, ground, oil pressure, brake light switch, temp sender, left and right turn signal. So after compiling that information, the information with this, and I didn't even get all the information from the pamphlet that I received. Then I had to go to their page and get this information. Once I was 100% sure that I had all my T's crossed, I wired all that stuff up. So now I should be able to take this, because these wires I'm not using, I should be able to take this, put this in here, and loosely wire my connections, and it should work. Let's see. Okay, we're about to start it. Now, I did not install the backlight gauges, but they're pretty much tap into your headlight switch and ground it. So, but this is what we're looking like. Kind of got it just hanging out. Let's see. Up. All my gauges are moving, my oil pressure, my battery, and my fuel. So I have about almost half a tank in there. Try the blinkers. The blinkers work. Right side works. Hazards. They work. I mean, once I terminate all that stuff, it'll have a solid connection. It's kind of just like in the air at the moment, but you guys just don't even know. Something that was supposed to be so simple, bolt and go. Now, don't get me wrong. These gauges are still, they're nice. They're super nice. But I did not expect the day that I've had today. I think everything would have went fine if I would have got the gauges that was meant to come with the kit instead of having to wire it up. I looked on some forums and a lot of people said that that they got different gauges when they ordered them individually, but everyone that ordered the kit got the plug and play ones. And that's the thing, I ordered the kit. So I don't know. But what I do know is despite it all, I still got them installed. Now we just got to make hard connections. Guys, it is like after 2 o'clock at night. And it's Easter now. I'm about to wrap this up. I'm about to take my butt back inside, call it a night. When we come back, I'll go ahead and have everything completely terminated. That way we can actually see it in the daylight and see what's what. How about that? And I gotta wait because I ordered a headlight switch and a dimmer switch. So I don't think the lights on the tack side's gonna work anyway. But anyway, I'm rambling. I'll see you in the morning. It's a new day. Guys, one thing has led to another, and now we just got a whole wiring debacle. I kind of took the day off the other day, and today I'm kind of feeling, I went and got my eyes dilated. So come to find out, I'm this close to being blind, guys. So I'm gonna be having me some specs shortly, but I pulled it all back out. Okay, so everything was working, but I had issues with my low beams. I've been chasing these wiring gremlins now. So I took out the fancy dancy beam lights that I had that had the blinkers incorporated into them, because I thought maybe that was an issue with the stock harness seeing too much voltage, or however you want to do that. So I've also updated my flashers with, you know, individual grounds and stuff. Speaking of that, in the middle of looking through my fuse box looking for stuff, my heater don't work anymore. And I always wonder why my heater just randomly stopped working one day, and that's because the fuse box where my heater is at decided to take a dump. So if you look down up in there, it's roached. So no heater. So that's awesome. That's awesome. This truck is literally fighting me every step of the way, but anyway, so I'm getting sidetracked. So let me show you what happens. We're gonna put this ground back on, all right? Now, this is something I did off camera. I have replaced my headlight switch. Well, God, I need to do a better job with light. Okay, so I've replaced my headlight switch. Okay, I replaced that. My forward dimmer switch has also been replaced. Now let me show you something. All right, watch. Look out there. I'm gonna point you out here. I'm gonna pull this. You see anything lighting up? I don't. Now watch when I press the dimmer switch. Boom. No low beams. But look, that is wide open. No low beams. So now we're gonna have to do some wire chasing down, some probing. So I've looked on the forums, and I don't want to believe it's a fusible link because I've replaced all those fusible links, but I did have headlight issues with this truck in the past, but those issues went away when I upgraded to the Bright Boy HID lights. Now what I'm thinking is there's the off chance that those lights kind of went ahead and cooked the rest of that. So I don't know. Anyway, I pulled all this stuff back out because I'm in setup mode, and I kind of want to redo my wiring because I'm not gonna lie, guys, it kind of looked like roached crap. So anyway, I'm about to get ready to try to finish rewiring that up to make that look cleaner, and we're about to see, can we diagnose this low beam situation. Okay, some time has passed. Okay, again, you guys won't believe this, but I did find the wiring issue why I don't have low beams. So I blew apart everything. Okay, I've got all up inside my box. I've even rewired my gauges completely, okay? Because why not? Okay, let me show you something that's freaking uncalled for. On this firewall, one of my plugs, this one right here, that pin right there was pushed down. I pulled that pin out and I shoved it back in the firewall, and I shit you not, my lights work now. Huh? No, for real, my lights work now. Watch. Look out there. Oh, you can see it light up. Now let's try high beam. Yep. Demonstration purposes. There goes my vape. That one little pin in the freaking firewall. That one little pin in the freaking firewall. Guys, I'm freaking tired. This video has done went off the rail, done de-escalated. It's everywhere, okay? It's everywhere. I'm fed up tonight. I am fed up. Setup menu, okay? So they supply you with this little button. Where is it at? This little guy right here. They supply you with this little button. Now this button supposed to wire to the brown and white wire, and it's a two-way button, so it don't matter which one you wire it to, but it basically wires in and it grounds out. So wire in and then ground it out. Cool, whatever. I put that on there. I try to toggle through my setup menu. Nothing works on that side. So right now I got to figure out why my speedo's dead, because it's stuck at 60 miles an hour, which is supposed to be the programming calibration BS crap. And honestly, I'm tired. And remember earlier in the video when I talked about we ordered ours as a bundle, so we were supposed to get the gauges that's supposed to butt into one another, and you wire it up all together and go through this little switch. Well, NVU, I hate. Should I send this cluster kit back? Yes, absolutely. Am I gonna send this cluster kit back? Probably not. This little box is trash. Let me show you something. This is a little box that's supposed to make it plug and play. It's supposed to be like snap adapter or something like that, however you want to say it. Let me set you up. This thing is trash. I hate this. All right, so I got some examples to show you guys. I have a 72 to 80 plug, okay? And I also have a later 81 to 93 whatever style plug, okay? Now, for demonstration purposes, I'm gonna tighten this back up because this is where my problem was at. I'm gonna show you that. Let's take this new plug, or later year model plug. See how it just bolts in perfectly fine? That's correct. That's how it's supposed to be. Let's take the earlier model, the 72 to 80 plug. That is incorrect. Even though I don't have any terminals on this, I should put terminals on this to give you more of a demonstration purposes. This plug gives me fits. it fights me to put this plug into it. Now, I thought, whatever, I could temporarily use this plug, which pin A, which is this one, and pin D, which is this one. This is the 12 volts, and this is the ground. All right, they're even labeled. On the schematic of this, A, B, C, D, A and D. A is the power, D is the ground. Cool. All right, let's double verify this real quick. 70 to 80 Dodge truck. A, ignition. D, ground. Okay, okay. Problem solved. It don't work. And this one right here, what's wrong with that? That's floppy. The rest of them are fine, okay? That one's floppy. I'm gonna take my screws out. Since we're dissecting stuff now. Okay, let's get the guts in. This is the guts of the switch, okay? Again, this is supposed to mimic. So as we plug this in, ooh, it even says 72 to 93 RAM right there. It's supposed to pin in, okay? We supposed to pin in. We are now pinned in. So the A plug is supposed to power the ignition feed. Okay? Okay, look at this. That shouldn't be loose. That shouldn't be wobbly. There shouldn't be any of that crap. But it is. Now, let's go on this side. Look at that plug right there. That wire. Well, that solder joint. That solder joint is not soldered, not jointed, not any of that. What I'm trying to say is I spent damn near $1,000, okay? If I spent $1,000 on a product, and I understand that not everything's supposed to be plug and play. I understand that. But if I spend $1,000 on a freaking product, and I get it, and A, it's not what the hell I ordered, because I was supposed to have those gauges, those right there, with the little thingy-my-bobbles in the back. I did not receive those. I got regular mechanical gauges, well, electrical gauges that I had to manually wire. And on top of all that, you send me this crap. Guys, we're gonna make these gauges work come hell or high water. And at the very least, if I cannot make that freaking tack work, okay? If I can't make the tack work, I'll just buy a different speedometer and I'll throw a different speedometer in the freaking truck, because I know for a fact that the fuel gauge, the water temp, and the oil pressure, and the voltmeter, all of those work, okay? Phenomenal. You know, you probably could have sent me some more freaking bulbs, because you only sent me freaking 4 bulbs, but whatever. I'm ranting, I'm aggravated. I'm gonna call it a night. We'll be back later on tomorrow. It's freaking stupid crap. Sup, guys? Several days has passed, okay? And let's do some explaining. So, the gauges that I got, my temp gauge, my fuel pressure gauge, like all those work. All my small gauges work. But the speedo, on the other hand, does not work. It's stuck in that setup mode. And I've been emailing them back and forth, and we went through all the diagnostics and troubleshooting and all that stuff. I done calmed down a lot now, so if I seemed a little braided, then yeah, I mean, guys, that's a lot of money to spend for it to. Anywho, I'm gonna send that back, and they're gonna look it over and they're gonna send me another one. So as far as this video goes, we won't be installing the speedometer aspect of it, because who knows how long it's gonna take when I mail it off, and then they gotta look over it, and then I don't know if they're just gonna mail me another one or they're gonna fix that one and send it back. I don't know. Who knows? Okay. Anywho, we went ahead and got our headlight situation working. I don't know if I showed you guys that or not. I'm kind of scatterbrained at the moment, but our headlights definitely work, which is cool. I got my blinkers disconnected, but those are my low beams. They look pretty good. A lot of people don't like the modern touch look like that. Turn these high beams on. A lot of people not fond of these kind of lights. I really wasn't particularly fond of them either, but they fit this truck. I was gonna throw a set of these because I went out and got a set of just regular old lights because I wanted to back trace all my wiring that I've done to see if I messed up something along the way. I didn't. It was just a loose wire in the bulkhead. But anywho, I'm deciding to go with these because if I don't go with these and I go back with something more traditional, remember, this is a 90s core support. I had to make this work with the 70s front, okay? So all this stuff in there is already a jumbo, but we got it locked up. But if I wanted to use those lights, I would have to drill out a hole to position this a lot better. I'm not doing all that. We're just gonna run that and just let bygones be bygones, okay? Anywho, we got all this stuff cleaned back up. So we need to get our cluster back in, and we need to wire up a bus bar off of the ignition prong. And because we're running just regular old signal stuff, we don't need a relay for this. Now if I was running a bunch of stuff, then yeah, I would relay it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna double those wires up. They're both 18 gauge wires. We're gonna double those up, and then we're gonna run it to a 14 gauge wire, and we're gonna power it all through a bus bar and let all that stuff be percolating. But guys, it has been a rough week with this and the gauges and the wiring stuff, and you guys probably don't care about any of that, but you know, I had to let you guys know. We also got a tail light issue going on. I've already checked all my grounds. I got the rest of the harness off the 72, and I just went ahead and wired it up. I'm not getting no tail light action. So something in here, maybe a fuse, hopefully it's a fuse. Something else in here is bugging. It can't be the ground situation for my lights up front. Well, it can't be a ground situation through the floor switch because my brights wouldn't work if there was a ground situation. If there was a situation with the headlight switch, none of this would work. Well, my low beams wouldn't work. So all that stuff works. So there has to be an issue from the harness down slope back. But we ain't figured that out yet, but I done said a mouthful. Let me get this cluster in and we're gonna go from there. All right. It's crazy how when you're doing wiring stuff, time just kind of just deletes itself. Anywho, after we've had our mad science experiment, I can bring you in and show you how we got this wired up. Come on, Mr. Drill. You are now my light. Okay, so we have our gauges hooked up, all right? Everything's hooked up that it's supposed to be, like our sending units and stuff. All that stuff's great. Now, let's talk about how we powering this. So inside of here, we have a bus bar. That's right, we got a bus bar. And with this bus bar right here, that wire, we're feeding power from the fuse box. Kind of like how you would tap into the fuse box. Now, I wanted to tap this into the fuse box just because of A, it's easier, B, I had to rewire everything up in there anyway, so yeah. But on top of that, if I ever wanted to add more stuff in, like relays and stuff, then I can. Now, let's talk about bus bars real quick. Do you need a relay to run a bus bar? Yes and no. If you are not running high voltage stuff like a little 2 amps, however much power it takes to run those gauges, I promise you it's not enough to affect any of that stuff, because they're just getting power, that's it. But what I do recommend is running an inline fuse. I have inline fuses wired into there just for the safety chances that something may or may not happen. And we still need to hook up the choke, but with that being said, we got our gauges wired up, ran to that bus bar. You about broke your leg.
No.
Now, I got my gauge ground for my lights right here. Now, as far as these lights go, I got them tied into my headlight switch. So, let's just simulate it real quick. Now, everything looks fine. I turn the key on. My gauges come on. Cool. All right. But what if I want light? And they got the old timey light. And it's all controlled from that bus bar. I got a big ground. All these gauges are running to a ground. So,
oh, hold on, we're gonna need more light than that.
You really can't see up in there.
Here.
It looks like a mess in there, but it's not. So, all these gauges are running to a ground. And I got that grounded to the body down there. The rest of this stuff is all my sending unit lights. I'm not running anything off the stock cornice for the time being. I do have some terminals clipped. So, let's go over them. These two right here are my blinkers. This one right here was originally my fuel gauge, which used to reside back behind there. It's still back behind there. You can't really get light back there. There's a wire back there somewhere. I'm using the stock wiring from that, and I pulled that out of the cluster for my fuel gauge. My sending units, let me see your light. My sending units are right here, which they run up there. I'm probably making this way more difficult than it needs to be. But all my wiring's pretty much tidied up, neat, and hidden. And now, because of all this, we have functioning gauges. Ooh.
That's the first time like I actually thought, oh my gosh.
Yep. So you drive down the road, your regular running lights are on. It gets dark out, boom, they're right there. It's all white, and it doesn't mess with my brights. So, that makes me very happy, because I have been fighting wiring issues for like a week now, and I really wanted to get this done. So technically, I latched this hood down, I wired the choke back up, no speedo, no tail lights, because we still don't know what's going on with the tail lights. I can put that speedometer app thingy on the phone and put it up here, and we can actually drive this down the road and see what it does. At low speeds, of course, if I don't forget to latch that hood down. But not tonight. It's dark. Why are you looking at me like that? I'm not driving it at night. But,
I'm waking you up at 8 o'clock in the morning.
oh my goodness. But I'm happy everything works. that makes me happy. I was gonna put the LEDs in here, but I don't know. Something about the old dim lit lights kind of does it for me. So, I mean, that's old dim lit. So, anywho, oh, and I gotta wire up the reverse. Even though the tail lights don't work, I gotta wire up the reverse to the shifter down here. That way when I put it in reverse, that light actually turns on, even though it's turning on nothing at the moment.
When they get installed.
Whenever I figure out that wiring. But I'm happy. All that stuff neat. I can just look at it from here. If I need to diagnose anything, I can just boop. After I put the glove box back in, it doesn't interfere with anything. It's completely hidden, and it's just as, and there's no underwiring bull crap laying around. Everything's tucked nice and tidy. I almost said titty. I'm tired. First thing in the morning, I'm getting out here, and we are.
You made me cackle.
Huh? Like the cackle, sisters.
Yeah. Cleaning up. First thing in the morning, we're cleaning up.
Cleaning up first thing in the morning. I'm gonna go ahead and wire that choke to that bus bar, and first thing in the morning, we're gonna probably see what it can do. Okay, new bright sunny day. All right, we finished off last night with go ahead putting the choke wire back on. Again, you don't really need to see all that. It's just wired to the bus bar. But now we need to go ahead and start finishing up little odd end stuff. Now I already got this side on. All right, but this side, I'm gonna show you how I'm getting these on. So again, we're using a 90s core support. So that means stuff just won't line up, like these bezels. So I'm already reusing pre-existing holes, which is where my wiring's coming out at anyway. I just got them positioned in a way to where they can actually be used. Now, the problem with this is when we go to sit this on here, see how it doesn't sit back and it's too far away from that? Well, the issue with that is the positioning of that. See, with the old core support, the way it's set, it was kind of already, you know, incorporated into it. What are we gonna do? We're gonna modify these stock bezels. Now, a couple people probably just cried because I'm modifying these stock bezels. It's nothing really crazy. You just get your measurements exactly where you need it, and we're gonna dump those off real quick. Watch as I break an NOS part. Nothing too fancy. Come on, man. There you go. There's a couple little slices, just a little couple little slices. And you're gonna take some grippers and you're gonna go along the edge, and that's where you want it to bend at. So work that back and forth, because your brake's gonna follow that line. All right. I'm gonna get right there on that line. Just gonna work it. Work it back and forth. It broke right there on that line. Same with the other side. Just gonna work it. Yep, that'll do it. Take your grabbers, any little sharp edges, go ahead and just run them off. And that's how you run a NOS part. Now, when we go to install them, we got one more little piece we need to cut, and that's right there. But this top part up here, see how much closer back it sits now? So we need to cut that part. So let me get my paint pen. There and there. I'll put my thumb right here. Looking like we're gonna go from here to here. Not much, just a little bit. Pow! Now let's test fit. Ah, sits how it's supposed to sit. I mean, it could probably afford to come over a little bit more. Yeah, we can afford to cut it right there just a little bit more. Better. Now, we can take the wrong size bolts and start the process of getting these tacked in. You won't even notice it. Won't even notice it. About a dough. See, you don't even notice I cut it. Cause this side's cut as well. Don't even notice it. Even from a 20-footer kind of distance, it looks pretty good. Pretty good. All right, we're finally getting places, okay? I think I figured out the mystery of the dead tail lights. So, I went ahead and I rewired up the stock lights. That bulb's trash. So if you want to know why your tail light just all of a sudden stopped working, or the front stopped working, or something along those lines, after looking at some wiring diagrams, schematics, and checking out some forums, the first thing you do is, of course, you check power to your headlight switch and you check your dimmer switch. That stuff's good, great. Move on to the fuse box. Once you go to the fuse box, it's the bottom left peg. The bottom left peg, as in that one. I don't know if you can see that on camera. It's a 20 amp. Make sure the 20 amp's good. That 20 amp's good, cool. Replace it anyway. Make sure your blinkers, your doubles are good. If they're both doing exactly what they need to do, then the last place that you check is your firewall. Again, when we was talking earlier about that third plug goes to the headlight switch and everything. Once that's done, make sure everything, and I mean everything's grounded. These trucks are pretty damn simple. So, let me give you an example. I'm in the run position, okay? Nothing is lit up. Let's pull headlight switch. Now we're on running lights. Boom, running light. That bulb's dead. Running lights, perfectly fine. Let's come to the back. We got no power, okay? All the way on. That is still on down there. Nothing. I think a lot of it has to do with this not being grounded. But oh well, whatever. Some of those bulbs are bad. Let's throw on the hazards. Blinking, yeah. They're blinking. So, I'm about to take a quick trip to the store, get some new bulbs. We're gonna put all this back together. And now, let's see what we actually have. Tail lights. Man, I kind of hate that I don't have the blinkers up front anymore, but I don't know. I kind of like that. These dang nets.
I'm so excited.
It's test driving time.
Mine, thank you. I'm gonna probably regret running against this door, but we're gonna go for it.
Did you slam the door?
I did.
We're at about 150. Alternators charging, half a tank of gas, 75 oil pressure.
And one happy husband.
And one jerry rig tap.
Note the zip tie to hold it in place.
You ready?
Yeah.
just killed it, right? Does it start back up? Because the
voltage,
the neutral safety switch, I hooked the neutral safety switch back up. I did have it grounded from the starter relay switch. I did have it grounded directly to the frame because the neutral safety switch before was acting stupid. But when I was doing the tail light wiring and stuff, I went ahead and hooked it back up and just hoped that it crunk up, and it did do that. But with all this vibration and stuff, I wonder if it vibrated itself loose. Oh, problem solved.
and we finished just in time to get a new package.
That's right, look.
And I just put the dogs up. Let me get it.
Alright. And I fixed that door. Oh man, I don't know how good you can see me. My light situation has definitely been getting a little bit on the dark side. But guys, I think that's gonna wrap up today's video. It's a couple more days have passed. I have put it on the road. I've driven it around a little bit. We put 20 to 30 so miles on it. Definitely needs an alignment. But we were able to get a sticker. So, as of a couple days ago, she is an active, or he is active, or whatever, an active member of society. And that, my friends, is just, guys, I love this truck. Again, I know you guys aren't that fond of this truck, but I absolutely love the journey that I have been on with this truck. It's crazy to think that all the transformations, it's thundering, that this truck has went through to get to this point. And now we can finally kind of close the chapter in on this project for now, because a project's never really finished, you know. There's abundance of things that I want to do to this truck. This truck will go through many different cycles, and you guys are going to be there every step of the way. But for now, we're going to go ahead and close the book on the D100 bill. And if I get my hands on some sick stuff going forward in the future, then so be it. It's so much sentimental that goes into this truck. I remember when we picked this truck up for 150 bucks, and it was a long wheelbase, and it was just roached. And it had a cracked 318 in it. And since then, it's had a number of 318s in it. We used to have the bath mat carpet that was in it when we purchased it. And we got it running and driving as a long wheelbase for under $1,000. Drove it around, enjoyed it, put insurance on it. Then I got bit by the Mopar bug, and I just knew that I wanted a little bit more out of it, so we sourced another 318. We kind of like threw a little Lunati camshaft on it, and it kind of went from there. And we bought a freaking donor vehicle and frame swapped it and axle flipped it and so on and so forth. But if you guys haven't seen any of the videos on this truck, I do have a playlist of this truck. If you want to catch up to speed on any of this stuff, it is there. I'm not going to keep you no longer. Thank you guys for all the support, and we'll see you in the next video. Man, and I get to drive you to work and just around town, and just, man, I can't believe we did all of this